Hi folks, and welcome to the Man Cave. So what are we talking about today? Well, those very kind people at INNOVV have sent me this just to review. This is their INNOVV 4K helmet camera. It's been on the market now for a couple of months. It's the H5 and they've just sent it to me just to do a review on it. So they've also sent me the external microphone pack and the new helmet mounting system as well. So if we jump onto the INNOVV UK website, because that's the area that I live in, we can see that sort of this bundle here with the H5 camera, the microphone as well, that will come to, with all the taxes and free shipping, it will come to a price of £259, so not a bad price really. So I've had the INNOVV stuff on my motorbikes before. I had an Africa Twin and I put the K2 motorcycle dash cam on that, and when I sold that I've then put it onto my BMW R1250 GS. So I know about the INNOVV stuff, it's pretty good stuff, and I use the K2 system predominantly for evidence gathering if I'm involved in an incident or I witness an incident, so that's why I use it on my bike. But be very interested to see how good this INNOVV H5 is. So without further ado, let's have a look and see what we get in the box. As always with INNOVV, their stuff is really nicely presented. So we've got INNOVV H5 4K plus stabilization. So just opening the package, then we just get a little message from INNOVV, and then we get some accessories in here. So this is just the handlebar mount for a push bike or your motorbike, and then we get some instructions, so some comprehensive instructions about how to use the camera, and then we get the camera unit itself, and then the battery. So let's put the battery there, just discard this. So there's the camera unit itself. So quite a small, nicely finished unit. So let's explore how we put all this stuff together. So what exactly do we get in the box? So I did forget that we actually get a USB type C connector as well. So you get the battery, that's a 2400 milliamp hour battery. And then we have the camera itself. It's a real nice quality camera. It's kind of a hard plastic with a bit of a glossy lacquery kind of finish. I've actually already dropped this once on my garage floor, but don't tell anybody about that. So as it comes out the box, it's got the external power cord on it. So basically you can plug that into your motorbike USB socket, or as we have here, I've got a little power bank which has got more power than the supplied battery. So you can pop that one in a pocket and then plug that into there, and that will power that for now sort of 10 hours. So what else do we get then? So INNOVV were really kind enough to send me free of charge this external microphone pack, so we're going to try that out as well. Initial thoughts, initial testing show that that is a really good bit of kit actually. And then we get the new helmet mount, which again I've tried it, haven't put it onto my helmet yet, and that seems to be really good and very easy to use, and once it's set up it's really stable. So what I do folks is I'll just show you how to format a micro SD card in the camera itself, and the micro SD card, it will take up to 512 gigabytes of card, so that's an awful lot of storage. So what we're going to do is just show you how to format that card, update the software, and then what we'll do is we'll download the app from INNOVV, because you need the app on your Android phone or your iPhone to set the camera settings on here, because as you'll notice there's no LCD screen like on other action cameras, shall we say. So we need the app downloaded onto the phone, so we'll do that as well, and then we'll put the whole thing together, mount it onto the helmet, and then we'll go out for a ride. How does that sound? So let's go and do that now. So charging the battery, very straightforward, USB-C into the end of the battery, and you'll see a red light come on here, and if it's fully dead it will take about 150 minutes to charge, and when it's charged that light will go green. So before we do anything, got to make sure the software in here is up to date. Very simple, takes about 2 minutes. You use your micro SD card, so class 1 or 3 high-speed card, and they call it a TIFF card as well, in my adapter, and the camera takes up to 512 gigabytes. Going to pop that in the side of my Apple computer. And then what I'm going to do is go to the INNOVV page. In this case, I'm on INNOVV UK. Go to support, go to manual firmware app, and there we go. So H5 firmware, that's what I'm going to go for. So all I need to do, where it says here, is H5 firmware. There's a long number there ending in V11.00. So I'm going to click on that and it will take me to another page, and then it will say no preview available. Going to download that. It's going to download it. It all sounds very complicated, but it's not. So it's downloading it now, as you can see on the screen. So there's the downloads. There's the INNOVV H5.brn. So that's what we want. I'm going to drag that onto my desktop. So there it is. It's appeared on my desktop and I've inserted my card. So it says drop it onto the root directory. Everybody gets confused about this. Basically anywhere other than the files you can drop it onto the card, so don't drop it into a dedicated file. Click it and then I'm going to drop it here, so not in a file. So there we go, so that's done, and then I'm going to eject that. There we go, that's ejected, and then I'm going to take the card out and then pop it into the H5. Card with the software in it, undo the adapter, camera, undo the camera, pop the back off. There we go, I can put that over there actually. So there we go, so we have the USB-C and the camera slot. I don't know if you can see, but there is, looks like a card sort of symbol on here. So all you're just going to make sure is this side here with all the writing that faces the symbol sign here. So that way you know the card's in the right way, otherwise you put it in the wrong way around. You might need a few long fingernails to put it in, or a little screwdriver, and you hear it click. So that's now in. So what we do is, I know that battery's not fully charged, but it's all right. So connect the battery onto the camera. There we go. And then what we're going to do is press it for about a second or so. That'll vibrate, and then we'll get alternating red and green lights, and that will go on for about a minute or so, and basically we're waiting for those two flashing lights to stop. Then we know that the software update is good. Dun, 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 dun. So there we go, those flashing red and green lights have finished, so that means the software has been successfully updated. So the next thing we're going to do is get our iPhone and put the H5 app onto the iPhone, and then we can talk to the settings within the camera. So let's do that now. And in my case, I'm going to go to the App Store for my iPhone 11 and then just download the INNOVV H5 app. So we'll do that now. Download the app, and we're nearly done. And we can open the app, and it throws up all that kind of stuff. And just going to hit OK, allow while using the app, and allow access to all photos. So that's it. So next thing, we've got to connect the app to the camera. So go to the camera, press the button for about a second, it will vibrate, and then the red light will flash, and then it will go solid because we've got the card in there as well. And then the top light is flashing green because it's looking for a Wi-Fi connection. Go to your phone, hit settings, go to Wi-Fi, it'll look for the camera, it'll say INNOVV H5 or something similar. Select that, and then what you may notice is after a little while there'll be some writing in yellow, in my case for an Apple product, iPhone 11, say no internet connection. That's fine, that means it's connected to not your router network but this camera here, so that's fine. And then scroll across to your app, the INNOVV app, and then you can go to settings, recording, you can see that in the app. Let's just hit the red camera button on here, and that will just pause the recording, and the red light on here will start flashing, and then we can just have a look at the settings and then adjust them accordingly. So what we're going to do is use 4K at 30 frames a second, high bit rate, video length. I'm just going to change that to 5 minutes, and as we scroll down we can see all the other things that you can adjust, and all I'm going to do is go for image stabilization, EIS stabilization. So I'm just going to check that. So, and then the distortion correction, I think it adds some kind of distortion correction anyway, unless I'm wrong. So the camera is now set up, ready to go. So I think we're going to put all this on the helmet and go out for a spin. So the final thing we need to do is just format the card that's in there. So it's a FAT32 format, so just do it inside the camera. So formatting, hit the format, OK, and then it's going to format that card. and that is everything done. We've got the updated software, the card's correctly formatted, we've got the app, it's talking to the camera, it's all good. Let's mount that on the helmet. So in my case, I've got a HJC RAFA 11 helmet on the left hand side. I've already mounted an intercom system on there, so I'm going to have to put the helmet mounting bracket onto the right hand side of the helmet. INNOVV do give you two mounting brackets. You have a flat one and a curved one, depending on how curved your helmet is. So I'm going to opt to use the flat mounting bracket on here. So they do give you a 3M pad. This stuff is really, really good. What I would suggest though is wherever you're going to fit this, do it in a warm environment. So over a 12-hour period, this cures and gives you maximum strength. So my garage is fairly warm at the moment. It's about 20 degrees centigrade in here, so that's not a problem. So what we're going to do is I've already had mounted the camera to give me a good place where I think it needs to go. So what I did is I just switched on the EIS, the image stabilization, and that just crops the lens down a little bit, and then just have a look on your phone and see roughly whereabouts you think you're going to put it. So I did have all this connected up together, so it's now been dismantled, so I'm happy with where the position of this little bit is going to go, and it's going to go just touching the green bit of tape that I put on there. So without further ado, what we need to do is, and it doesn't matter which side goes where, because I did speak to INNOVV about that, so I'm just going to peel this back. If you haven't got any nails, then you may want to use a sharp knife, which is what I've got here just in case. So try not to touch the sticky stuff, and then what you need to do, just make sure that the area you're going to put it on is nice and clean. So I've already wiped this down, so I haven't got any isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol just to remove any grease. So I've just used a nice clean cloth with a little bit of cold water, and that's nice and clean. And then we're just going to mount this pad onto the side here, hopefully without touching it too much. Once you're happy with position, just give it a nice press. And all we have to do is just peel the red tape off. And if you can't peel it off, just use a knife. That's peeled off. That's the flat bracket. And so I don't need the curved one. And then just line it up and then put it on there so it's nice and square. Yep, so I'm happy with that. And then just press it down. Give it a good old press. Take the tape off. Get rid of that. And then what you need to do is leave that overnight to cure so you get maximum strength. So let's leave that overnight and see you very soon. So this is the next day. That's cured very well, so that is absolutely rock solid. So we just need to put this bit onto this bit using these bits that INNOVV have supplied us. It's very important that you don't use both of the rubber washers. I think one of them is a spare, so just use one of them. If you use both rubber washers, then what happens is that screw sits too proud in the recess there, and then when you come to fit the camera in the camera holder, it doesn't fit properly. And all we're going to do is pop this on here, and it doesn't matter which way around it goes because this is very, very rotatable, if that's such a word. So pop that in there, and then INNOVV kindly supply you with an Allen key, and then we just do it up fairly tightly, I guess. So that's nice and snug. That's certainly not going to go anywhere whatsoever. And then all we need to do now is just loosen these 4 Allen key bolts on the underside of the mounting plate, and all that's going to do is just going to free up some of the movement in the ball and socket joint, should we call it, so you can finally set the camera to the best position once you've got on your bike and sort of played around with it with the camera open on the app, so you can see what the camera is looking at, so you get the best possible position. So I'm going to do that. I won't show you how to do it because it's fairly straightforward actually, and then the only thing we need to do then is connect the microphone up, and then we are good to go. So let's also connect the microphone up, but let's just pop this on here. There we go. So that's nice and snug. I haven't done the Allen keys up properly yet because I'm going to set the camera. So basically the wider part of the bracket sits at the front, and then you'll see there's a little cutout on the top there, and that just sort of will show you the Wi-Fi light. So just going to pop that in there, very, very simple, and there we go. And then just go outside, sit on your motorbike, fire the app up, and then just adjust the ball and socket joint accordingly, whatever view you want. And then once you're happy with that, then just remove the whole unit, and then you can tighten up the 4 Allen key screws, and that'll be absolutely rock solid. And the good thing with that is once it's secure, you can continually, you know, you can pop the camera in there, you can take it off, put it back on again. And unlike some action cameras, you don't have all the scaffolding around the helmet with the possibility of knocking your position of the camera out. So I like that. So this is the boom mic. It's extremely flexible, so they obviously supply you with a Velcro pad. So I'm just going to pop that on the inside of my HJC helmet and then just put the boom mic in there. So that should work out really quite well actually. All right, just push that down. It's a nice secure fit. And then get the boom mic, pop the boom mic in there. So the boom mic is in there nice and securely, and I'll just adjust it when I'm out on the road. And then all I need to do is put the jack plug into the adapter pack. So obviously I can't use the 5-hour battery pack on here because I won't be able to plug the audio in. So just going to connect this to the back of the DVR camera itself, and then that will go in there. So that's power to the microphone. And then obviously I'm going to use my little portable power pack, pop that in my pocket, and we'll power the camera just by doing that. So that's the final installment then, a real nice installment actually. So I've got the boom mic in here, as you can see here, and then I've got the jack connector just tucked onto the inside of the helmet. That's not going to go anywhere. And then I've run the audio cable between the cushioning and the helmet itself, and then it goes into the back of the camera. So all I need to do is just, with the power pack and the extendable lead, is pop that in a suitable pocket on my jacket. And yeah, I really like that. That's a nice setup. So the camera itself then, it couldn't be more simple. On the underside you've got a single hole here, and that's for the internal microphone. That's not particularly brilliant. And on the top side of the camera you just got this silver button here, and then 2 LED lights. One is for the operation of the camera, whether it's recording or not, and the other one is for the Wi-Fi light. So we single press the button for about a second, we get 2 vibrations, and you can feel that through the helmet, and we have a solid red light, which means it's now actually recording. The green flashing light means it's looking for a Wi-Fi connection, and I haven't connected it to the phone app at the moment. So if you're riding down the road and you want to take a photograph of something, just reach up to the helmet, single press, and it vibrates once, knowing that you've taken the photograph. And then if you want to turn the camera off, press it for about 4 seconds and you get 1 long vibration and the camera switches off. It really is that simple. And it will tell you when it's got low battery. It will vibrate 3 times. So it's really, really simple. And I really like that. And finally, yes, finally we are now out on the road on the BMW R1250 GS with the INNOVV H5 Helmet camera. So let's just talk about the settings that I've got on the camera at the moment. So basically it's default settings, and then we've just put the electronic image stabilization on, which I think has got a gyroscope or something like that on the Sony A7 sensor. I've got a power bank battery just on the inside of my jacket, and that's sitting comfortably in my pocket, connected to the H5 and the microphone as well. Does it cause me any issues with turning my head to give the old lifesavers and all that kind of stuff? Well, no, it doesn't. So the cabling doesn't get in the way, and I just run the cable down my neck into the inside pocket of my motorcycle jacket. So the type of card that I've got in the unit at the moment, it's 128 gigabyte, and that's good enough for 5 hours, and I'm recording in 4K at 30 frames a second. If you want to put that big card in there, well, that will give you 512 gigabytes, and that will basically give you 24 hours of recording. My setup is basically like a motorcycle vlogging kind of setup, so powering the camera on my power bank in my jacket. I could actually, rather than the power bank, I could just pop it down here into the BMW's USB, but I just quite like it on the inside of my pocket, but that's always an option as well. So if you wanted to just use it as a motorcycle dash cam for evidential purposes, then just pop that battery on the back, and that'll give you 5 hours of continuous recording. And if you didn't want to put the battery on the back, then you've also got the option to use the power cable and plug that power cable into a power bank. What I like about it is that it is affordable, so it's basically nearly half the price of a GoPro action camera. And let's be face it, those GoPros, they are really good, and the quality is a next step up from the INNOVV, I have to say. But there's so much stuff on there, people just get confused about it. The beauty of the INNOVV is that it is very practical and it's very usable and it's not complicated. So basically all you need to do is put your SD card in there. Once you've connected the app to the unit itself and set up all the settings that you want, basically all you need to do to get recording is to press the button on the top of the device, and if you want to take a photo, just press the button again, and if you want to turn it off, press the button again. So it's all done through one button, so it will suit those people who just want something simple, of good quality, and is going to last a long time. Look at the view, it's very nice, very nice. Have I had any issues with the H5? There's been a few little points. Let's say that in low light it does struggle a little bit. Obviously at this kind of price point you haven't got the top of the range sensors in there, so it does struggle a little bit in low light. When you connect the camera to the Wi-Fi just to adjust the settings, whilst the Wi-Fi is connected, and it can be connected for up to, I think it's 5 minutes through the app, you do get a bit of a clicking noise on your audio of your video, but that will disappear once the Wi-Fi switches off. INNOVV are aware of that and they're addressing that as we speak. So you can get a little bit of clipping on the sound with the microphone. One thing I would have liked to have seen on the app is when you go into it, nowhere does it tell you how many minutes you have remaining of recording time, depending on what kind of size card you've got in there. But what it does show you is how much storage space you have got left on the card, so you'll sort of have a rough idea. Obviously I've got a 128 gigabyte card in here at the moment, and that's going to give me 5 hours of footage. So if I go into there and have a look, and it's 64 gigabytes remaining, then that's 2.5 hours of recording, and that, folks, is really about it. The H5 is really simple to use, and a bit of a tip that I've learnt in the last few days whilst I've been sort of sat there looking at this little bit of kit is that if you're not sure if it's still recording, let me just put my cruise control on. So all I do is, if you just take a photo, so let's take a photo of the dash, and you know it's still got power and it's working properly, because when it takes a photo it buzzes and you can quite easily feel it through your gloved hand. So I now know, because I've taken a photo which I'll put up here somewhere, so I now know that the camera's still got power on and I don't have to panic. I think when the power switches off, so if the power bank runs out, it will vibrate a couple of times, time to put another power bank on. So let's go for a ride without any talking. folks, I'm going to wind up the video now. I think the INNOVV H5 is a great little bit of kit for the price that you're paying. It's nearly half the price of certain action cameras. Okay, you can't go surfing with it, you can't go scuba diving with it, but as a motorcyclist, I won't be doing that. Hello, horsey. I won't be doing that. So this camera, this dedicated motorcycle camera dash cam, is exactly what I would need. If you're a motorcyclist or a pedal cyclist who just wants a simple dash type camera, and this is a dedicated motorcycle dash type camera, then go and give INNOVV a look. Website down below in the link, go and have a look at that. It's a great bit of kit. Okay, it's got its limitations, but for that price point I think you're getting a super camera. It's a definite thumbs up for me. Those of you that have already got the INNOVV H5, if you've got any comments to make just to help out potential owners, then make them in the comment section down below. That would be great. So as ever, ride safe, and we will see you all again soon in the next video, whenever that may be. Hello, sir. So, ta-ta!